Father, in this quiet moment, I come to you. Not with the perfect words, not with the answers already figured out, not even sure what to ask for first. I simply come, the way a child walks into a room where their parent is sitting, not because they need something specific in that moment, but because they need to be near them. That is what I am doing right now. I am coming near to you. Wherever you are as you listen to this, whatever room, whatever car seat, whatever quiet corner of a long day you have found for yourself, let this be a place where you can finally stop holding your breath. Let your shoulders come down from around your ears. Let your hands, which have been clenched for so long around things you cannot control, begin to open. You do not have to perform faith right now. You do not have to have it all worked out. You only have to be here. Lord, some of us have been waiting so long for an answer that we have almost forgotten what it felt like to ask the question with hope instead of exhaustion. Some of us prayed once, boldly, expectantly, and now we pray more quietly, almost afraid to hope too loudly in case the silence answers back. You know which one of us is which. You know the exact shape of the waiting each person carries into this prayer, even though I cannot see it, and even though the person listening may not have said it out loud to another human being in months. So we begin here in the honesty of it, not pretending, not performing spiritual strength we do not feel, just arriving, tired hands open, hearts still tender from asking and asking and asking. Lord, you already know what we came here carrying, the job application that went quiet after the interview, the medical test whose results feel like they are taking a lifetime to arrive, the relationship that hangs in an uncertain place, neither healed nor over. The prayer for a child, spoken in whispers, sometimes in tears, sometimes in the middle of the night when everyone else in the house was asleep, and it felt like it was just you and the ceiling and the ache, the decision that has to be made, and the wisdom that has not yet come. The door that has not opened, though it has been knocked on more times than can be counted. You know the specific weight of each person's waiting. I don't have to explain it to you, because you were already there when it began. You were there in the doctor's office. You were there in the moment the phone didn't ring. You were there in the silence after the letter arrived or didn't arrive. You were there when hope started to feel like something dangerous to hold on to, because it kept getting disappointed. You saw all of it, and you are here now. For the person who has been asking you the same question for months, maybe years, and has started to wonder if you are even listening anymore, you are listening. I want to say that plainly, because sometimes we need to hear the truth stated simply before we can feel it settle into our bones. You have not stopped listening, not for one single day, not for 1 hour. The silence someone feels is not evidence of your absence. It has never been evidence of your absence. It only feels that way because we measure your presence by how fast we get what we asked for, and you measure love by something far deeper than speed. Lord, teach us, in this hour, a different way of waiting. Not the anxious waiting that checks the phone every 5 minutes. Not the bitter waiting that starts to close its heart to protect itself from more disappointment. But the kind of waiting that your word describes, the waiting of those who renew their strength, who rise up as if carried, who run and do not grow weary, who walk and do not faint. That kind of waiting is not passive. It is not resignation. It is active trust rooted in who you are rather than in what has or hasn't happened yet. I bring before you now the specific ache of unanswered prayer, not the general idea of it, but the real, particular, personal weight that someone listening right now is carrying. Maybe it is the prayer they prayed so many times they stopped counting. Maybe it is a prayer they are almost afraid to keep praying, because each day without an answer feels like another small loss. Lord, meet that person exactly where they are. Do not let them feel foolish for having hoped. Do not let them feel forgotten for having waited. For the person who applied for the job or the school or the loan or the visa and has heard nothing, Lord. Be near them in the checking of the inbox, in the refreshing of the page, in the way their heart lifts every time the phone buzzes and falls again when it isn't the message they were hoping. 4. Give them peace that does not depend on the outcome arriving on their timeline. For the person waiting on a diagnosis, or waiting to see if a treatment is working, or waiting for a body to heal in ways only you fully understand, Lord, hold that fear so it doesn't hold them. Let them feel, even mid the uncertainty of their body, the certainty of your nearness. You do not wait somewhere far off for the results to come in before deciding whether to love them. You are already there, in the waiting room, in the hallway, in the sleepless night before the appointment. For the person waiting for reconciliation, a marriage that is fractured, a friendship gone quiet, a parent and child who have not spoken in longer than either of them would like to admit, Lord, you know how heavy that particular waiting is, because it involves someone else's heart, someone else's choices, someone else's timing, none of which we can control no matter how much we want to. Comfort the one who has done what they can, and now must simply wait and hope and pray, releasing the rest into hands more capable than their own. For the parent waiting to see who their child will become, praying quietly over decisions being made far from their sight and increasingly outside their control, Lord, give them peace in the letting go. Let them trust that the same God who is forming that child's story was faithful before they were born and will be faithful long after this season of worry has passed. For the person waiting for direction, standing at a crossroads with no clear sign pointing either way, Lord, you have not left them without a compass. Even when the path is not fully lit, remind them that you go before them and you will not leave them to wander without purpose. For the person waiting on provision, watching the numbers in an account grow smaller while the bills grow larger, wondering how this month will work out, Lord, you have never once forgotten to feed the birds outside their window, and you have not forgotten them either. Meet their practical need even as you meet the fear underneath it. For the person waiting for a companion, praying quietly for a marriage that has not yet come, watching wedding after wedding pass by while their own story remains unwritten in that particular chapter, Lord, do not let this waiting convince them that they are somehow less chosen, less loved, less seen. Let them find, even in the waiting, that they are not incomplete without an answer. They are already whole in you. For the person waiting for restoration after loss, a job that ended, a home that was left behind, a season of life that closed a door they were not ready to see closed, Lord, comfort the grief tangled up inside their waiting. Sometimes what we are waiting for is not something new, but simply the ache of missing something that used to be there. Meet that grief tenderly, and in your time, bring something good out of what was lost. For the person waiting to understand their purpose, unsure what they were made for, feeling like they are simply going through the motions of a life that has not yet found its shape, Lord, you are not confused about who they are or what you have placed inside them. Reveal it in your timing and give them peace in the meantime, trusting that even the unclear seasons are part of the forming. And Lord, for the person who cannot even name exactly what they are waiting for, who simply feels the ache of something unresolved, some sense that they are in between, no longer where they used to be and not yet where they are going, meet them in that formless waiting too. You do not require a well-organized prayer request to move on someone's behalf. You see the whole of what troubles them, even the parts they cannot yet put into words. Father, in this place of waiting, I want to bring you something honest. It is hard. It is hard to trust when the outcome is uncertain. It is hard to keep believing when the circumstances have not changed in weeks, months, sometimes years. It is hard to hold on to hope when hope has been disappointed before. I will not pretend in this prayer that waiting is easy or that faith removes the ache of it, but I will say this, even in the hardness of it, you are still good. Even in the length of it, you have not changed. Even in the uncertainty of it, you remain the same yesterday, today, and forever. So Lord, right now, I bring you the specific things we are holding onto too tightly, the outcomes we have tried to control, the timelines we have tried to force, the plans we have built around an answer we do not yet have. Help us open our hands. Not because our concerns don't matter to you, they do deeply, but because gripping tightly to an uncertain future has never once made that future arrive any sooner. It has only made the waiting heavier. So we release, not our hope, but our grip. We keep believing. We simply stop clenching. Lord, I surrender the timeline. I confess that I have often prayed as much for the answer to come on my schedule as for the answer itself. Forgive me for the moments I have tried to tell you not just what I need, but exactly when and how I need it to arrive. Teach me the difference between persistent prayer, which you welcome, and anxious demanding, which only exhausts my own heart. Help me bring my requests boldly, and then release the outcome into your hands, trusting your timing even when it does not match mine. I surrender the need to understand why the answer has not come yet. There is a kind of peace that does not require full explanation, and I ask for that peace now. I don't need to understand every reason behind the waiting to trust the one who is with me in it. Help me hold the mystery of unanswered prayer without letting it turn into bitterness or doubt. I surrender my plans built on assumptions of certain outcomes. Lord, I have sometimes built entire futures in my mind around an answer I was hoping for, and when that answer didn't come the way I imagined, it felt like losing something I never even had. Teach me to hold my plans loosely, to dream and hope and prepare, while still leaving room you to write a story different from the one I imagined, because your story for me has always, in the end, been better than the one I would have written myself. I surrender my fear that waiting means being forgotten. Lord, help me remember that some of the greatest stories in Scripture were built entirely inside seasons of waiting. Joseph waited in a pit, then in a prison, before he ever stood in a palace. Sarah waited decades for the promise of a child. Moses waited 40 years in the wilderness before he ever stood in front of Pharaoh. David was anointed king long before he ever wore a crown, and in between, he waited in caves, waited through betrayal, waited through fear. None of them were forgotten in their waiting. Each one of them was being formed by it. I surrender the comparison that creeps in, the temptation to look at someone else's answered prayer and wonder why mine hasn't come yet. Lord, forgive me for measuring my story against someone else's timeline. Their answer is not a statement about my worth, and my waiting is not a punishment. Help me rejoice with those who receive their answers without letting it deepen the ache of my own unanswered ones. I surrender the version of myself I thought I would be by now. Lord, so many of us carry a quiet expectation of where we imagined we would stand at this point in our lives, the milestones we thought we would have reached, the peace we thought we would have found, the certainty we thought would have arrived by now. When reality looks different from that picture, it can feel like failure, even when it isn't. Help me release that imagined timeline and trust the actual one you are writing, which I cannot yet see in full. I surrender my need to have a testimony ready before I am willing to trust. Sometimes I wait to believe until I can already see how the story ends, telling myself I will have faith once the outcome is guaranteed. But Lord, that is not faith at all. That is simply agreement with what has already happened. Teach me to trust you in the unfinished middle, before the ending is visible, because that is where faith is actually formed. I surrender the voices that tell me I am the exception to your faithfulness, the quiet lie that says everyone else gets their prayers answered, but somehow I will be the one left waiting forever. That voice is not yours. Silence it, Lord, and replace it with the truth. You are no less faithful to me than you have been to anyone who has ever called on your name. I surrender my exhaustion. I am tired, Lord. in a way that sleep does not fully fix, because this is a tiredness of the heart, not just the body. I lay that exhaustion at your feet, and I ask you to carry what I no longer have strength to carry on my own. And now, Lord, even in the middle of what remains uncertain, I want to thank you. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this day, which I did not have to earn and which I did not create for myself. Thank you that even while I wait for the big answer, you have been faithful in 1,000 small ways I have not always paused to notice. The meal that was provided, the friend who reached out at exactly the right moment, the strength that came from somewhere when I did not think I had any left. Thank you for the mercy that meets me new every single morning, regardless of how yesterday went. Thank you for the doors that opened when I least expected them, doors I did not even know to ask for. Thank you too for the doors that closed, even the ones that hurt to see shut, because I trust that you were protecting me from something I could not see or making room for something better still ahead. Thank you for the prayers you have already answered in my life, even the ones I have already forgotten to thank you for. Help me remember them now, and let that remembering fuel my hope for what I am still waiting on. Thank you for salvation, for grace that does not depend on my performance or my patience, for the fact that my standing before you was never based on how quickly I trust you or how gracefully I wait. Thank you that Jesus already secured what matters most, so that even my waiting, my doubting, my tired and honest prayers are received by you not with disappointment but with tenderness. Thank you for the lessons hidden inside this season of waiting, even the ones I have not fully learned yet. Thank you that you are not wasting this time, even when it feels wasted to me. Thank you that you are present in it, not distant, not absent, not indifferent, but present close, attentive to every detail of what I am walking through. Thank you for the people you have placed around me, even the few, even the imperfect, who have offered a kind word or a listening ear during this season. Thank you for the ways you show up through others, even when I forget to notice it in the moment. Thank you for a body that still wakes up, lungs that still fill with air, a mind that is still capable of hope, even after everything it has carried. None of that is small. None of that is owed to me. All of it is grace. Thank you for the version of me that this waiting is shaping. I may not fully see it yet, but I trust that the patience I am learning, the trust I am building, the dependence on you I am developing in the absence of certainty, these are not wasted. They are becoming part of who I am, and I believe that one day I will look back and be grateful not only for the answer, but for who I became while I waited for it. Lord, would you do a work of healing in the hearts of those who have waited so long that hope itself has started to feel bruised? For the one whose hope has grown tired, heal the exhaustion behind their prayers. Restore the part of their heart that used to believe boldly, before disappointment taught it to guard itself. Give them permission to hope again, gently, without needing to hope perfectly. For the one who has begun to feel forgotten by you, heal that ache directly. Remind them, in a way only you can, that you have not looked away, not for a single moment. Even in seasons that felt like silence, you were near, working in ways unseen, preparing answers not yet revealed. For the one carrying shame because their waiting feels like proof that something is wrong with them, that they are not favored, not chosen, not seen the way others seem to be, Lord, lift that shame off of them completely. Waiting is not a punishment. It has never been a punishment. It is not evidence of your disapproval. Some of the people you loved most in Scripture waited the longest. For the one whose waiting has turned into bitterness, who finds themselves resentful toward others whose prayers were answered more quickly, Lord, soften that heart, not with guilt, but with grace. Remind them that your love is not rationed, that another person's blessing was never subtracted from their own portion, and that you have enough grace, enough goodness, enough faithfulness for every single person who calls out to you. For the one who feels discouraged, wondering if they even have the strength to keep believing. Renew their strength today. Not tomorrow, not eventually, but today, in this very prayer. Let a measure of courage return to their heart that they did not have when this prayer began. For the one who feels rejected, as though the silence itself is a form of rejection, Lord, speak tenderly to that wound. Silence is not rejection. A door not yet opened is not the same as a door closed forever. Help them tell the difference between your timing and your absence, because those are two very different things, even though they can feel the same in a painful season. For the one who is simply weary, worn thin by carrying this question for so long, give them rest. Not the rest of giving up, but the rest of laying it down at your feet and trusting that you are capable of carrying what they cannot carry any longer. For the one who has quietly stopped expecting anything good, whose heart has grown so accustomed to disappointment that hope itself now feels risky, Lord, do the tender work of unlearning that. Show them, in small ways at first, that it is safe to hope again in you, even if it is not yet safe to hope in outcomes. For the one who feels invisible, as though their prayer is one among millions and surely too small to matter to a God who governs galaxies, remind them that you are not too vast to be near. The same God who set the stars in their courses also counts the very hairs on their head. Nothing about them is too small for your attention, and nothing about their waiting escapes your notice. For the one who has been told, directly or indirectly, that their faith must be lacking because their prayer has not yet been answered, Lord, silence that lie completely. Unanswered prayer is not a verdict on someone's faith. Some of the most faithful people who ever lived waited the longest for what they had been promised. Waiting is not evidence of failure. It is, so often, simply evidence of a story still being written. For the one who is angry and Lord, I want to name this honestly, because anger is often the feeling underneath the disappointment we don't know how to voice. It is safe to bring that anger to you. You are not fragile. You are not offended by an honest heart, even a furious one. The Psalms themselves are full of raw, unfiltered cries toward heaven. Receive whatever anger is present in this prayer right now, and meet it not with correction, but with compassion. Lord, restore in each of us the confidence that you are still working, even when the evidence is not yet visible. Restore our sense of identity, so that our worth is never tied to whether or not an answer has come. We are not defined by what we are still waiting for. We are defined by whose we are. And we belong to you. Now, Lord, I want to sit in the very center of this, the truth that faith does not mean having all the answers. Faith is not certainty about outcomes. Faith is trust in a person, even when the outcome remains hidden. Help me remember that your word describes faith as being confident of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Not certain of what will happen, exactly how or exactly when, but certain of you, certain of your character, your goodness, your presence, your unwavering commitment to those who love you. Lord, for the one who cannot see what you are doing right now, remind them that not seeing does not mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface of soil, seeds are growing long before anything green appears above the ground. Nothing about that hidden growth is wasted, even though it looks, for a long while, like nothing is happening at all. Let that image bring peace to someone right now who feels like their life, their prayer, their situation looks like nothing but bare ground. You are not idle. You are working exactly where it cannot yet be seen. For the one whose prayer has not been answered in years, Lord, meet the exhaustion of that specifically. There is a particular kind of tiredness that comes from hoping for a long, long time. Give them a fresh wind today. Let this prayer be a marker, a moment where their strength is renewed, even if the outward circumstances remain the same for now. For the one who feels like nothing is changing, no matter how much they pray, how much they believe, how much they try to trust, Lord, remind them that change is not always visible from the inside of the waiting. Sometimes you are changing the person before you change the circumstance. Sometimes the delay is not a denial. Sometimes it is preparation for something the person is not yet ready to carry, receive, or steward well. Help them trust the process even when they cannot yet see the purpose. And Lord, I want to say honestly, your silence does not mean your absence. This is one of the hardest truths to hold on to in seasons of unanswered prayer, and yet it is one of the truest. Silence is not the same as absence. A father can be sitting quietly in the next room, present, attentive, aware of everything happening, even without saying a word. You are never absent from those who call out to you, even in the moments when you feel most quiet. For the one who has begun to bargain with you, promising to be better, to pray more, to change some part of themselves if only the answer would come faster, Lord, gently release them from that bargaining. Your love was never a transaction. You do not withhold answers as a form of testing someone's worthiness, and you do not release them as a reward for good behavior. You are not that kind of God. You are the kind of God who loves fully, freely, before any of us has anything to offer in return. Give us the kind of trust that does not require constant confirmation. Give us patience that is rooted not in passivity, but in confidence, confidence that the God who began a good work in us is faithful to complete it. Give us perseverance that does not quit 3 days before the breakthrough, that does not put down the prayer just because it has grown heavy to carry, and give us hope, real hope, not denial, not forced positivity, but hope grounded in who you are and what you have already proven yourself to be. I think, Lord, of Abraham, who was promised a son and a nation, and who watched years pass with no child, his body growing older, the promise seeming less and less possible by ordinary human measure. And yet he did not waver in unbelief but grew strong in faith, giving you glory, being fully convinced that what you had promised you were able to perform. Lord, grow that same strength in me. Let the passing of time not weaken my trust, but somehow, mysteriously deepen it. I think of Elijah, who prayed for rain after years of drought, and sent his servant to look toward the sea not once, not twice, but 7 times before a cloud, small as a man's hand, finally appeared. 6 times the servant returned and said there was nothing. 6 times. And still Elijah kept praying, kept watching, kept believing. Lord, give me the endurance of the 7th look. Let me not stop believing on the 6th report of nothing, when the answer may be closer than it has ever been. I think of the woman who had been suffering for 12 long years, who had spent everything she had seeking healing, and who reached out in a crowd simply to touch the edge of a garment, believing that would be enough. Lord, I may feel like I have exhausted every option too. I may feel like I have nothing left to offer but a quiet, desperate reach toward you. Let that be enough. It was enough for her. Let it be enough for me. I think of the disciples in the storm, watching the waves rise around a boat that felt like it was going to be swallowed by the sea, terrified, waking you from sleep with the words, "Do you not care that we are perishing?" And you did not scold their fear before you calmed it. You simply stood and spoke peace over the wind and the waves, and it obeyed. Lord, speak that same peace over the storm inside me. I do not need to understand the mechanics of how you will calm it. I only need to know that you can, and that you care enough to do it. Now, Lord, I bring before you this exact theme that brought this prayer into being, the ache of waiting for an answer. What does it mean spiritually to wait for an answer? It means standing in a space between what was and what will be, trusting a God we cannot see with an outcome we cannot control. It is one of the most vulnerable postures a person can hold, hands open, heart exposed, future undecided. And Lord, you know this posture intimately, because you designed faith to grow exactly in that space. The fears connected to waiting are real, and I don't want to minimize them. There is a fear that the answer will never come. There is a fear that if it comes, it will come too late to matter. There is a fear that the waiting itself means something is wrong, wrong with the timing, wrong with the prayer, wrong with the person praying it. Lord, meet every one of those fears with truth. You are not slow. You are not careless with our lives. And nothing about our waiting reflects some flaw in us that needs to be fixed before you will act. The hope connected to waiting is this, that every season of waiting in Scripture, that we know the ending to eventually gave way to breakthrough, to provision, to answers that were often better and more beautifully timed than anything the person waiting could have orchestrated themselves. Joseph's waiting positioned him to save a nation. Hannah's waiting gave the world Samuel. The waiting of the Israelites in the wilderness, 40 long years, still ended in a promised land. Waiting in your hands, Lord, has never been the end of the story. It has always been the middle of one still being written. What do we need to surrender in this season? Control, the need to know how and when, the illusion that we could have engineered a better outcome if only we had pushed harder, prayed longer, done something differently. Lord, release us from that illusion. Some things are simply not ours to control, and trying to control them only exhausts us without changing the outcome. What do we need to believe? That you are good, even when the timeline is hard. That you are present, even when you are quiet. That you have not forgotten, even when it feels that way. That waiting is not wasted time in your hands. It is formation preparation, a hidden work being done in us, so that when the answer does come, we are ready to receive it and steward it well. What does the Bible teach about this exact situation? It teaches that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. It teaches that weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. It teaches that what was meant for harm can be worked by you into something good. It teaches that you know the plans you have for us, plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give us a future and a hope, even when the middle of the story looks nothing like the end we are hoping for. What would trusting you look like here, practically, today? It would look like praying without demanding. It would look like continuing to show up faithfully in ordinary life, work, relationships, daily responsibilities, without putting everything on hold until the answer comes. It would look like gratitude alongside longing, both held at once, without one erasing the other. It would look like resting in who you are more than striving toward what we want. What kind of transformation can this prayer invite? Not necessarily a transformation of circumstances, though I ask boldly for that too, Lord, wherever it aligns with your will, but a transformation of the heart that is waiting, a heart that softens instead of hardens, a heart that trusts instead of demands, a heart that can say, even in the unresolved middle of the story, I still believe you are good and mean it. Lord, I ask you now, boldly and specifically, for the answer we have been waiting for. I do not pretend that I have stopped hoping for a yes, for a breakthrough, for the door to finally open. You invite us to ask, to seek, to knock, and so I do, not timidly, but with the confidence of a child who trusts their father's heart even before they know his answer. If it is your will, let it come soon, let it come clearly, let it come in a way that leaves no doubt it was your hand at work. And if the answer is not what I am hoping for, if the door I am knocking on is not the one you intend to open, give me the grace to trust that your no, or your not yet, comes from the same love as every yes you have ever given me. Help me hold both of these at once, bold, expectant prayer, and surrendered, trusting peace, without one cancelling out the other. That has never been a contradiction in your kingdom. It has always simply been what faith looks like. Lord, I declare these things over the person listening to this prayer right now. I declare that their waiting is not wasted. I declare that you are working even in the silence. I declare that the delay is not a denial. I declare that they have not been forgotten, not for one single moment, not by the God who knows the number of hairs on their head and the exact weight of every worry on their heart. I declare that the anxiety they carry about the future does not have to have the final word. I declare that fear, however loud it has been, is not louder than your voice. I declare that their identity is secure, not in the answer they are waiting for, but in the one they are waiting on. I declare that this season of waiting is producing something valuable: endurance, character, a deeper trust that could not have been formed any other way. I declare that when the answer does come, whatever form it takes, they will look back and see your hand had been present the entire time, even in the parts that felt most hidden. I declare peace over every anxious thought connected to unanswered prayer. I declare rest over every exhausted heart that has been carrying this question too long alone. I declare hope, real and steady, over every person who has started to wonder if hoping is even worth it anymore. It is worth it. Hope in you is never wasted, Lord, even when the specific thing hoped for does not arrive exactly as expected. If you are listening right now and carrying a specific unanswered prayer, I invite you to bring it before God in this moment. You don't need eloquent words, just bring it. Whisper it in your heart if you need to. Name it, even if just to yourself and to Him. He already knows it, but there is something sacred about speaking it, about handing it over instead of carrying it silently one more day. Take a breath. Let your shoulders soften. Whatever you have been white-knuckling, the outcome, the timeline, the fear of what happens if it doesn't turn out the way you hoped, imagine setting it down at His feet right now, not throwing it away. Just setting it down, the way you would set down something heavy you have been carrying for miles, trusting that it is safe there, safe with Him, even while you keep walking forward without it weighing down your arms. Lord, for the person who is waiting alone tonight, without anyone beside them who fully understands what they're carrying, be near them in a way only you can be. Let them feel, even in solitude, that they are not truly alone. For the person who has been strong for everyone else while quietly falling apart on the inside over their own unanswered prayer, give them permission to be honest with you, to stop performing strength in this moment, and to simply be tired and honest before the one who already sees every performance anyway. For the person who is afraid of what tomorrow holds, uncertain how this waiting season will resolve, give them today's peace for today, trusting that tomorrow's grace will arrive exactly when tomorrow does, not a moment before it's needed and not a moment too late. For the person who feels like they are starting over, whose prayer for an answer is really a prayer for a fresh beginning after something ended, Lord, meet them in the disorientation of new beginnings. Let this waiting season become fertile ground rather than empty ground. For the parent quietly worried about a child's future, praying for wisdom, safety, and direction they cannot control, give them peace in the releasing and confidence the same God who set the stars in place is not indifferent to the well-being of their child. For the person whose heart has been broken by disappointment after disappointment, each unanswered prayer stacking on top of the last, until hope itself started to feel unsafe, Lord, be exceptionally gentle with that heart. Rebuild trust slowly, tenderly, the way you always do, never demanding more faith than a wounded heart can currently offer. For the person who feels far from you right now, who wonders if their waiting is somehow their own fault, some spiritual failure keeping the answer at bay, release them from that lie. Nearness to you was never based on the speed of your answers. You are close to the broken-hearted, close to those who feel far, close even now, closer than their next breath. For the person who is beginning again, starting a new job, a new city, a new chapter after something ended, and who is waiting to see whether this new beginning will actually take root, Lord, water what has just been planted. Give them patience for the slow, unseen work of new roots growing beneath the surface before any fruit is visible above it. For the person who has been praying for someone else's breakthrough for so long that has become its own kind of waiting, a parent for a wayward child, a spouse for a marriage to heal, a friend for another friend's healing, Lord. Sustain them in the particular exhaustion of interceding on behalf of someone they cannot fix or control. Let them trust you not only with their own waiting, but with the waiting they carry on behalf of people they love. For the person who feels like they are the only one still waiting while everyone around them seems to be moving forward, Lord, remind them that comparison always tells a partial story. Every person carries a waiting room of their own, even the ones whose lives look resolved from the outside. Let them find peace in their own timeline rather than sorrow in someone else's. For the person who is waiting quietly, without complaint, doing their best to trust you even while their heart aches more than anyone around them realizes, Lord, see them. See the effort it takes to keep showing up with a steady face while carrying an unsteady heart. Give them a moment, even now, where they feel truly seen by you. Lord, I choose to trust you even when I cannot see the way forward. I believe you are still working, even in the places where I see no evidence of movement. I refuse to let fear write the final chapter of a story you are still authoring. My future is not outside your hands, no matter how uncertain it currently feels. You are with me in the waiting, not just on the other side of it. I will not allow yesterday's disappointment to determine tomorrow's hope. I trust your timing, even when it does not match my own. I believe that what feels delayed to me is not forgotten by you. I choose to hold on to peace, not because my circumstances have resolved, but because my God has not changed. I declare that I will keep praying, keep hoping, keep trusting, even in the in-between. I declare that God's silence is not God's absence, and that even now, in the quiet, He is near. I declare that this waiting season is not empty. It is being filled, in ways I cannot yet measure, with strength, character, and a deeper knowledge of who God is. I declare that I am not behind. I am not late. I am not missing out on some better version of life that everyone else seems to already be living. I am exactly where I am, held by the God who ordered my days before one of them came to be. I declare that whatever answer is coming, whenever it comes, I will still know how to worship. My praise is not conditional on my circumstances changing. My trust does not expire while I wait. I declare that I am strong enough for today, even if today is simply another day of waiting, and when tomorrow comes, I will be strong enough for that day too, because God's mercies are new every morning, and His strength is made perfect in exactly the kind of weakness I feel right now. Lord, take a moment with me now. If you are listening and there is a name, a face, a specific situation that came to mind during this prayer, bring that person or that circumstance before God right now. Whatever comes to your heart in this quiet moment, whisper it toward Him. And breathe. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the breath moving in and out of your body, steady, faithful, given to you again this moment without you having to earn it. That same faithfulness that keeps your lungs filling with air is the faithfulness at work in the situation you are waiting on. It has not stopped. It will not stop. You are not alone in this waiting. You have never been alone in it. Lord, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds it. I don't know exactly when this answer will come, but I know that you have never once been late in a way that mattered eternally, even when it felt, in the moment, like you were taking too long. Give me wisdom for the decisions still ahead of me. Give me discernment to recognize your guidance when it comes, even if it comes quietly, even if it comes in a way I wasn't expecting. Give me the courage to take the next step, even without full clarity about every step after it. Give me patience that does not curdle into resentment. Give me peace that does not depend on certainty. Give me protection over my heart and my mind in this season of unknowing, so that fear does not take root where trust should be growing instead. Provide for me, Lord, according to your will, not according to my anxious calculations of what I think I need, and help me recognize your hand at work, even in the small, quiet provisions that could easily be mistaken for coincidence. I release control of the outcome. I release my need to know how this ends before it ends. I release my grip on the timeline, on the method, on the specific shape I imagined the answer would take. I trust that your plan, even where it differs from mine, comes from a heart that loves me more completely than I love myself. Let this be a quiet place of surrender. Whatever you have been carrying today, the ache of waiting, the fatigue of hoping, the fear that this time might be different, that this prayer might not be answered the way you long for it to be, lay it down now. Not because it doesn't matter, it matters deeply, and it matters to Him, but because it was never meant to be carried alone, and it was never meant to be carried by human strength in the first place. Lord, thank you for meeting us here. Thank you for being patient with our impatience, tender with our doubts, near to us even when we could not feel you near. Thank you for the reminder that waiting is not the opposite of faith. It is often the very shape faith takes when nothing else is required of us but trust. I am grateful, even now, even in the not yet. I am grateful for breath, for this day, for the small mercies that have carried me this far. I am grateful for a God who does not grow tired of hearing the same prayer over and over again, who does not roll his eyes at repeated requests, who welcomes persistence as a form of relationship rather than an annoyance. I trust you with what I cannot yet see. I trust you with the outcome I cannot control. I rest tonight in the assurance that I am held, regardless of what has or has not yet been resolved. Let this peace stay with you long after this prayer ends. Let it meet you tomorrow morning, before you even open your eyes, before the weight of the day has a chance to settle back onto your shoulders. Let it meet you in the ordinary moments, the drive to work, the dishes in the sink, the quiet minutes before sleep, reminding you again and again that you are not carrying this alone. If the answer comes today, may you recognize God's hand in it and give Him the thanks He is due. And if it does not come today, may you still be able to say, honestly and without pretending, that you trust Him. That is not a small thing. That is not weak faith. That is some of the strongest faith there is, the kind that keeps trusting before it can see, the kind that keeps praying before the outcome is certain, the kind that keeps showing up to this quiet place of prayer even when the answer has not yet arrived. There is still hope. There has always still been hope, even on the days it was hardest to feel it. And there is hope now, in this very moment, however quiet or uncertain your circumstances remain. God is with you, not somewhere distant, waiting for the right moment to draw near, but right here, right now, as close as your next breath, as near as the quiet space inside your own chest where this prayer has been settling. You are not alone in your waiting. You have not been forgotten. Your prayer has not gone unheard. And even now, even in the middle of the not yet, you can trust that the one who began this story with you is not finished writing it. Rest in that tonight, carry that with you tomorrow, and whenever the waiting feels heavy again, return to this truth. God is near, God is working, God is faithful, and you, even now, even here, are held. Amen.